Garcia Hall with Bob Evans.
Hi, hello, welcome.
Smile like that. It's a regular smile, wasn't it?
It's crystal clear, we've been on a year, the struggle straight along the way, but having you by my side makes everything okay. We're watching video clips of all types of shits, laughing out loud, we really hate this crowd, and we don't know where to go, hopefully take it slow. Lots of hustler minds will reject and decline our approach to life, and that, well, that's just fine. We wanna let others live because it's none of our business. We press your chest upon our mess. There's so many minds, hey, I'd like to whine. Take me out of this place, we want a part of this race. We do what we can, you better tap out, man. You're about to pass out or get a pick for the cloud. Why is it so hard out here? Lately it's so weird. Try to stay woke and humble and joke. It's f***ing hard out here. And we have run into some very hard times as of recently. Just this past Monday, today is February 1st.
Oh yeah,
And Monday was whatever it was. And
28th maybe?
I don't know. I don't do numbers well. And so, not in my head. I still use my fingers, which I'm not ashamed of in public, but here, I just don't see the practicality of it. Anyways,
Okay.
not practicality. I just don't want to waste my time with it. As I'm just talking about how I don't want to waste my time with it. I'm wasting time talking about it. Anyways,
It's different.
sure. As of Monday morning, come to find that there has been a loss of employment. And what Karena was referring to earlier about the ironic situation was the last episode we had, at the end of it, if you all saw, we had said, if anyone knows of any jobs out there, let us know. But, we were kind of just asking about like maybe better paying jobs, well-paying jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, then about a week later or so or whatever, there was a loss of employment. And now we are stressing out of what to do. Of course, taking all the right steps, filing for unemployment,
Revamping the resume, sending out information, signing up to all sorts of job sites.
Reaching out to people to see if they know of anything. Money is tight. There's not a whole lot saved up. There is some fortunate aspects to this, but it's like an emergency fortune because rent was covered for this month, and we should be able to have rent for the next month.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put it away just for that, and anything that happens in between that is gonna be hopefully managed very delicate with delicacy, and care, consideration. We're gonna go from like trying to be as healthy as we can, right? Because healthier products are usually a bit more pricey. We tend to eat for our weekly use. We get like grass-fed beef. We usually have some supplements that we take. What else was there? Those are the two main things, really.
Yeah, I think those were basically all we were doing.
And our gym membership, of course, too, is also a huge aspect of our health and well-being. So we're cutting
Everything
expenses.
out.
Yeah, we cut everything out. We stopped all subscriptions, and we have had some help, thankfully. Unexpectedly too. We weren't asking for handouts or anything, but some folks that we're forever grateful for gonna help us out a little bit in one area. I don't know if we should say who it was because I'm not sure if they would want that out there, that type of information out there.
Yeah, I don't want to put them on type of, I guess put them on blast, but like for something that may not be public knowledge.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to have to deal with more people bringing that to them. Does that make sense?
What do you mean? Oh, like asking for handouts,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah, because I mean, we didn't ask for a handout. We were just
No,
like,
we were
hey,
just letting them know.
we've run into some hard times. And then they came through in a big way, which was really awesome.
Yeah, huge way.
But, you know, as much of a help as that is, it's still, you know, it doesn't, it's not necessarily pain, and we need that. We need an income. And, yeah, so it's just a scary time right now. We don't know what's going to happen. Could completely change our lives.
Yeah.
We might have to, I mean, worst case scenario, we might have to separate and move apart and go to different cities. And that would be a very difficult decision to make. And obviously a very difficult situation to handle.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I don't know if I have too much more to say on that, really.
Yeah, you pretty much covered it. It's weird. The like job market is tough. There is and isn't a lot of availability.
It is unfortunate. I will speak on a little bit about the event that occurred right on Monday. Of course, it was without notice, and that understandably is within their rights.
Yeah.
Get that, sure.
We live in an at-will state.
And it is just, it's devastating. You know, it's a huge blow to take when you're not prepared for that, and you're not financially stable for that. You know, the little that was saved up is now gonna be spent within 2 months.
Yeah, completely used for
Like,
sure.
that's it. Yeah, the cost of living is so high here, you know, for what they, compared to what they pay a lot of places, most places. And so, you know, it's a huge hit, and obviously we don't feel like it's just, you know, we don't feel like it's right. And I'm, you know, there's just so much more to the actual situation that I wish we could speak on, but of course we can't, you know, for whatever legal purposes that might
Occur.
follow. Yeah. But or legal issues. We don't want any. We don't want trouble, like, ever.
Yeah.
You know, we keep to ourselves. And I mean, despite putting a lot of our lives online like this, you know.
We're not causing trouble for anyone, really.
Yeah, I just.
And we're not wanting to cause trouble for anyone.
Yeah, and it just seemed like it was a completely workable situation if people were just open and honest about maybe what they're experiencing, and maybe also a little bit self-awareness can go a very long way, and just involvement too. In my opinion, there were some parties that were a bit negligent, you know, and just not present. But yeah, that's all I'll say on that. So yeah, it sucks, to say the least. Super scary, very stressful. You know, we haven't been sleeping too well,
No.
and then on top of that, just dealing with the kids and
New schedule.
trying to implement some sort of structure in their lives.
Yeah. It's weird to even be normal. Like, it's hard to just try to have any other thoughts that aren't so, I don't know, heavy. Like, it just takes up so much of your mind. You really can't, like, settle. Like, when we were watching a movie, like, it was cool to just sort of escape and actually, like, enjoy something. But other than, like, sitting down and watching a movie, I'm not enjoying anything. Well, small amounts, but it's like there's a huge sense of guilt and shame. Like, it's just like, it's hard to enjoy anything.
Yeah, it's always because it's always there. It's not gone, you know. In those moments where we're like, just okay, trying to be normal as possible, and we've done all we can for the time being, and it's like, okay, gotta sit down and eat breakfast, you know, something so simple, and let's put on some entertainment, and yeah, it does alleviate a little bit, but you know, the situation's still there, and it's still scary, and it just hits you again, you know. You're like, oh yeah, that's right, like we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with this. We're still you know, waiting to hear back from employers, and it's like, oh, I still got to take care of, you know, whatever else. I still have to finish this, or you know, now what else am I gonna apply to? You know, where else can I look? You know, you're just constantly trying to figure it out, and
Yeah, and then trying to parent and do things on top of that, like.
yeah,
And with this new schedule too, which has been difficult.
so one is in public school, and the other one is not, and they have a hard time getting to their studies because of scheduling issues, or staying up too late, you know, not going to bed at a decent time.
Yeah, they'd much rather be playing their video games than taking anything seriously, I guess, or being more responsible.
Yeah, just like a huge lack of responsibility. It's just not there. And we have to enforce a lot of things. I guess that's general parenting, sure.
Yeah, but we're trying to make it more normalized and structured so that way they can be prepared for like adult life and all of its responsibilities. They hate that though. They're like, well, I'm not an adult, but if you've not started public school since you were like 5 years old, you don't have the same type of semi-responsibility as like someone that's not in that same structure.
Yeah, you don't have a sense of it, of what it's like to have to maybe wake up early on time to get to a place that you need to be at so you can make money. You know, and you don't have a sense of like, okay, well then I need to restructure my life in a way that is suitable for the hours that they are requiring of me, and the, you know, the specific times that I need to be there, and all those sorts of things. And you know, I just try to tell them like, hey, this is how it is going to be later on, and it's going to be a little bit easier if you get used to doing that stuff now opposed to later, because if you get hit with that stuff when you're a little bit older, you're just not going to want to do it, and you're going to have such a hard time trying to make those adjustments. And right now, there's not a whole lot of responsibility that's like expected of you or required of you. And this is going to be like one of the easiest things that you're going to have to do in your life right now.
Yeah, they don't. That one, I think, is so great because it's like you're being taken care of, and this is the easy part, and they just do not see that at all. But I mean, I get it. Being a kid is difficult,
Right.
and you're under someone's care, but it does not feel like that. It just
Yeah.
feels like you don't get to do anything.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, I was just always like, I cannot wait to be an adult and do this so much better. Did not.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I kind of did too, to a certain extent, for sure. But yeah, no matter what, though, we're still binded to like the requirements of society that we're living in. And you know, there was one of the things that one of the kids had said was like, I just want to be free. And I was like, oh, you're telling me?
Me too.
I was like, guess what? Me too.
That's all we talk about.
And that's the only time I've used like, that's just the way it is. Because I was like, I want to be free too. Your mom wants to be free too. But guess what? We cannot be. We have to play by the rules. Just like we're asking you guys, or telling you guys, you have to play by the rules here under this roof.
Yeah.
And like I went like deep with them. I was just like, society begins in the home. Like that is the fundamental building blocks of how you are going to be as an active participant in society, how you're going to be a citizen in this society. Like that's just how it goes. And like we don't want to work. We don't want to have to pay taxes. We don't want to have to pay bills. We don't want to have to pay for our food. And,
Yep.
but we have to do all of that. We have to get car inspections. We have to get licenses. We have to get certifications. Like it's
Insurance.
insurance, all these things that are just like forced on us. They really are. With reasons, sure, I understand that. But,
Yeah.
I do believe that human beings are capable of self-governing, though. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Given the appropriate upbringings and lessons and just
Everyone needs
values.
the correct, support.
yeah. But unfortunately, a lot of us can't get that because it is hard. Trying to just make ends meet.
And also, we're under the rule of like somebody else's agenda too. Like, we're in a society that we can't really make a huge difference in. Like, there's not a whole lot of change that we can enact besides protest.
To a large degree, yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, there's always the possibility of like really engaging in your community and trying to make a difference, But that does require a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a huge responsibility. And I mean, there's a lot of people in situations that just they're not able to do that. They don't have the time to do those types of things,
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's also like a lot of personal preferences that get in the way too. And it can all be argued that it all goes back to the home and how you were raised and what values you were taught and
Oh yeah, for sure.
stuff like that. But in a lot of ways, it's not anyone's particular fault, but in a lot of ways it is too. So it's just it's obviously it's very difficult, complex reality of this way of life, and and all this goes without saying that we're like still very grateful for the things that we do have and the things we are able to do and experience. And I am one that, like me specifically, because I don't know how you feel about it, but like I do know that there obviously are lots of other people in the world that have it a lot harder and they're struggling way more, and they're like on their last breath, so to speak, just
Yeah. No, I do realize how fortunate I am to be in the situation that I am in. And I have lots of gratitude for that, because it is terrible in lots of places. So
yeah, and like really like heavy situations, life or death situations that are just completely out of their hands, completely out of their control.
yeah.
And that is extremely unfortunate and sad. So we get that, we're acknowledging that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean obviously we're not going to feel what we feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it definitely does help to kind of get into a better mental state, because it's like, well, I've got this, and I've got this. So that's not so bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, just the other day we were talking and I had said something like, look, all we can do is just get right back to work. Like, yes, we're allowed to grieve, we're allowed to be scared, we're allowed to, just let all the emotions be. We're allowed to experience all the emotions, honor them, acknowledge them. But then, at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, we have to get back to work, because that's literally all we can do.
Yeah, you can't stop. There's no way. You have to keep going. And then, it's also setting a deeper example for the kids. It's like, you don't just give up, because it will turn out worse and worse. You have to keep going. You have to keep putting in the effort. There's so much work to be done.
Yeah. I really hope they see that. I don't know.
I think they they're not taking it in completely now
Yeah.
because they've got their own issues and their own lives to be processing, but I think it's definitely going to be a part of their I guess mindset as an example.
Yeah, part of their like storage bank, you know, like it's going to be in there. They can recall it and just be like, oh, that's what was going on when we were going through that time. You know, those are the types of things that you tend to realize as an adult about your childhood, you know.
Yeah, I also don't want to, I wish you could just like safeguard them from it, you know, not have them deal with any type of that information. Be like, no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that.
Excuse me. Which I burped, I'm sorry.
No.
That I will disagree with. Yeah, because I think it's better to inform them and let them know what's going on. That way, there's less surprises later on in life.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's how I think we've approached this entire parenting process, is like just keep them informed as
Yeah.
much as possible, because we don't want to tell them like, oh, this is what we're doing because I said so. We're
Yeah, of
always
course.
trying to give reasonable, legitimate like reasons
Yeah.
why we do the things we do, you know, because we didn't like it when our parents would tell us like, you're just doing this because we said so, you're just doing this because I said so, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we try to give them the reasons. And I personally thought that would be enough, because I've always thought that kids were capable of understanding, and they are, but in real practice, there is still pushback. And,
Yeah.
and they come up with very outlandish
Elaborate.
rebuttals, you know, and nonsensical arguments. And then you have to point that out.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
they
it just
firmly believe in it.
right, but it just creates more work. You know, I've noticed, instead of just like shutting them down. And yeah, so like parenting is like the hardest thing. One of the hardest things, I guess. I don't know, because I
You've done some hard things.
yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, I'm sure there's lots of like occupations out there that I would probably be like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like, that's like really impossible to do for sure. But here, I feel like it's just, you're just teaching a human how to be a human, you know? And like, since you have some experience on that, it's like a little bit easier than, say, I don't know, becoming an engineer or something. Like, I don't know, something that's really difficult. Understanding like quantum mechanics or quantum physics or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole life in your hands, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the responsibility is huge for sure, and it holds a lot more weight. Absolutely, you know. So it's like, it's a bigger deal in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just more possible, I guess, in my opinion, because it's like, well, I'm a human. Like, I should be able to tell this human how to be a human, you know? Or like what the rules are, and like why things are the way they are. And yeah. I don't know.
I think it's really funny whenever they do say, you're just doing this because you're telling us what to do. And it's like, we tell you so much. Did you miss all of
Yeah,
that?
and that's funny too. So it also like tells me no matter what you tell them, like your children are still going to have that mentality. You know, it's like, no, actually, I've given you, and there have been several times where I go back and I'm like, no, I've actually given you a reason. You just don't like it.
Yeah, you just
know?
don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And that's why you think it's just like my choice.
Yeah, they're like, you're just doing this, and it's like, no, I'm not. I just gave you the reason.
Yeah.
Now, either you're not listening or you just don't like it. I don't know which one it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I guess like the only way they could really understand that is like giving them something to take care of too, like a plant or a pet or something. It's like, hey, you're responsible for that. You taking care of it?
I don't know. Those things don't argue back.
A cat might.
Nah. No, because you can interpret that behavior however you want.
Yeah. But that's interesting.
What's interesting?
All of that was interesting. To me.
So profound. So wow.
Oh yeah. So many big thoughts.
So
much
many.
concepts.
So many thoughts.
Yeah.
Thoughts and players.
Players.
Yeah. THOTS
Oh,
and players.
Okay. Was it you that
Instead
didn't
of
know what
thoughts and
PHAT was
prayers.
recently? You know, like last year or so? you
Yeah.
were like, that's what
I
that
still don't
means?
remember what it was. Yeah. What is it? Can you say it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Pretty hot and tempting.
Okay. Fat. It's PH fat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Correct
I
me
mean,
if I'm wrong.
huh?
I said, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, we're going to try to keep doing this podcast also because this was one of our, aspiring projects. Is that correct to use? I don't know.
I think so.
This-
It was like a dream we
is-
wanted to see.
We want to try to see if we can make this work out, see if we can make this become something more than it already has. Honestly, I mean, the appreciation of it that we have received so far has been
Yeah.
really great and surprising, I'm glad that we can have people on that are like excited to be on.
Yeah.
And it's a fun little thing to do, you get to share your story. And
I mean, we've thoroughly enjoyed it, even with like the ups and downs that have happened.
Yeah.
Like some difficult, silly things and some difficult mistakes as well. So much learning. But it's really cool to see y'all
Yeah.
have a good time and for y'all to talk to us about it afterwards or just come up to us and be like, hey, that episode was interesting. Or
yeah, it's really nice.
I related to this. And we continuously are so grateful for your support. Like it is super cool. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And expensive. People don't talk about that aspect.
Yeah. Well, I feel like people know though. It's like when you start doing something that you want or that you have a passion in, it's going to start
Yeah.
being an investment.
I mean, at this point, we've just lost money though. Like, had to buy several things for this project.
Businesses don't start turning a profit
No, of course not.
immediately.
Yeah. No, I'm not complaining necessarily. I'm just
Yeah.
pointing it out.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
especially in these difficult times whenever
definitely. Yeah.
income has changed.
We've lost money and now it's like, oh, okay.
Hey, if you know of any sponsors that are interested in supporting two little silly kids.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not trying to ask anyone for anything. That's not me. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I will ask for help when
It's needed.
it is needed. Yeah. But I don't even ask my parents for anything.
Yeah.
I never have.
That's cool.
From the time that I was a kid, I would just be like, nope, I don't want anything from you.
That's how independent you were?
Yeah, to a certain extent, for sure. Yeah. I mean, but I knew I didn't want to work. I was like, I'm going to have to do that at some point. So I'm going to hold off on that. And I'll start when I'm 18.
Yeah.
Or I'll start when I graduate from high school. Because I realize that's when I have to do it. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm good. I'm not going to work during high school at all. I'm just going to try to enjoy what I can.
Yeah. That's cool that you realize that though.
Yeah, I don't know how, dude. I think because I did pick up a job when I was 16 or 15 or something like that. I guess the legal working age was 16. I don't remember. But yeah, they wanted me to like cut my hair because I had gone to Mohawk. And I didn't like go into work with it spiked or anything. And it was a little Mohawk, And they were just like, did you get hired with that haircut? And I was like, no. They're like, okay, well, you can't just come into work with a different haircut, is how it was presented to me.
That's so weird.
And I was like, okay. And they're like, so I don't know, either like cut it or, yeah, I guess this isn't a good fit for you or something along those lines. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm not going to cut it. Yeah. And I didn't go back.
Wow. That's a great story.
I was only there for about a week.
Yeah.
I was at Kmart.
Oh my gosh. You can't change your haircut. We hired you like this. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And you know what? I do know that black people get a lot of pushback because of their hair, their natural hair. When I found that out, I was like, what? I was like, are you kidding me? Like just letting it be like natural, you know, because a lot of times it's just like, it'll like fro out, right? But then they, I guess they have made people like, I
Just
don't
do
know,
different things.
keep
Yeah,
it,
there's a
yeah,
number
certain
of
way,
things they tell them to
change
do.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
and the handbooks or guidebooks or whatever, employee handbooks, whenever you sign on to a job, there's detailed information of how you're supposed to have your hair or attire.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is racist for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't call it racist, but I would definitely call it like, I don't know, but it's not racist.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely infuriating to see those videos of like kids that are competing and stuff, and like they're just like told to change their hair right there on the spot, and it's like, what are you talking about? That is insane.
Yeah, it's like make yourself more presentable when it is something that is not entirely out of their control, but it's just natural. It's so that's the way that they are built, and you're telling them to change it, you know?
It's their hair. What?
Like, because even
What?
a regular person, let's say, if they go in to work with like nappy hair, not nappy because that's the word that's used for a lot of black people, excuse me. Like it's like just like gross, like just unkept, you know, and like super messy, tangled up and whatnot. Like they're gonna ask that person too to fix their hair. You know, they'd be like, hey, you're gonna have to groom it, comb it,
Yeah, but it's not
put
the
it up in a
same.
ponytail or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's so silly. It's funny to think now, like, about how that's like the work environment. You have to have a certain kind of hairstyle, you have to be presentable. I mean, like, now in these years, it's a little bit more relaxed, but not everywhere.
No, definitely not. It's yeah, it's. I don't even know if it's gotten better. I haven't been like I'm not working everywhere, you know. So I don't.
In some places, like restaurants have been more lenient where it was never allowed. Like, you couldn't have tattoos showing ever.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking exactly like tattoos. You know, that used to be a real big issue, and now people are freaking walking around with face tattoos and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're still getting employment.
I think that's a real shock for people still. It's all like, you're being employed? I can't believe you got a face tattoo.
Yeah.
I want finger tattoos like so bad.
Yeah.
And I've already committed to that. Like, I'm going to have to get tattoo makeup
Yeah.
because I want that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to do this in order to be acceptable.
I mean, yeah, and that's like a bigger issue that we do have to adhere to like these sort of things that infringe on our personal space. You know, that's a problem, I think. It's like, what? I can't color my hair. I can't wear my hair a certain way.
Yeah.
I can't have certain artwork done on me. Like, what? It's my body.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So that's interesting.
Because you're a distraction. You're stopping people from doing their job.
That one was like being an adult now and realizing they used that as a reason for not being able to have these things, like a distraction. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, like-
I've always thought that though about that one. I'm like, what do you mean a distraction? How am I distracting anybody? I'm just keeping to myself.
Yeah.
I just look a certain way. Or I'm just
You're
wearing a certain thing.
flamboyant. And especially for women too, you can't wear low cut things, can't wear short skirts.
Oh yeah.
You have to cover your skin, you know, you can't be hot.
That's so funny, yeah. I mean, that just strips away personal responsibility on whoever is being distracted by that.
Yeah.
You know?
So dumb.
It's like, no, you need to not allow yourself to just gawk or just like be was overly occupied with, you know, the way someone looks.
Yeah, seriously.
Like just look away. or get back to work. Focus on your work, you know?
Yeah.
You're not there to stare at somebody.
Yeah.
So that one's really silly also.
It is so silly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, we're adults.
Yeah, for
You
real.
can't handle this? This
Yeah.
is a problem for
Like
you?
if someone were going to work with like a thong, I'd be like, dope.
Yeah.
But then I'd be like, but I still got to do my work.
Yeah.
You know, like that's pretty
They'd
cool
be
to
all
see
like-
once in a while. It'd be great for morale. Boost the work morale.
I mean, there's places like Twin Peaks and freaking Hooters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right? That's funny. Yeah, those places do exist. Jeez, yeah. Like when we went to Twin Peaks that one time, I was like, oh my God.
They were in nothing.
Dude, they were so revealing. Like you could see bikini lines that
Yeah.
hadn't been tended to in like a day or two. I was just like,
Yeah.
dude.
Which wouldn't have been a problem either. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter because they're serving food and hair has to be covered up. That would be the only thing I think of, but otherwise, I don't care.
But it was like it was like stubble.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is like that's what I'm saying. Like that doesn't matter. But I'm wondering if it's like the same as like beards.
Yeah.
You know, like in a kitchen.
It has to be kept.
Yeah, like because you have to have that covered. Like you're supposed to wear like a beard cover.
But that's
and stuff.
because of like contamination.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a very specific.
Otherwise, in the
reason.
uniform,
Yeah.
I don't care if you have stubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, right up at the table.
But yeah, it's just silly. Like, is it wearing uniforms and things like that? And I don't know. I think that's really silly.
Yeah, one time for Halloween at the restaurant, I went all out, and I love dressing up for work. I think I've done it at any job that I've had, and I was also interviewing someone, and they said to me, I don't know how I'm supposed to take you seriously when you look like a zombie. And I was like, well, it's Halloween.
Yeah.
And also because I'm a human telling you what to do.
Yeah, for real. Like nothing changes about the reality of the matter.
If anything, I'm much more relatable and you should feel more comfortable. That's just my opinion.
Maybe they weren't joking. They had to be joking.
No, they were not.
They were serious.
They were very serious.
That's odd.
Yes.
But I mean, I guess that's the way that their brain is wired.
Yeah.
So then how do you accommodate for that?
Well, we just realized that our place wasn't the right fit for them, but
Eventually.
yeah. Because while we take our job very seriously, it was just like, that's not, you're
was-
training.
Was that the reason why they were let go?
No, they didn't even start. They were in the running for a position, and
So they were. Oh, you did say that. They were just training.
yeah, well, it was a stage, so it was basically a test run. It was just like, let's see if we get along. Let's
Yeah.
see if you do the job well, and let's see if you like
even
it here.
Like it, yeah. But that's so crazy too. Just like you can't really determine whether you like a place or not in one day. I've always thought that was kind
And
of crazy.
also, whenever you're going for employment, it's not up to you to say that you're like, this is not good. Like you haven't even got your foot in the door.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Maybe, yeah. There's definitely a time and place for that, I think, right? And it can be beneficial to the company for some cases, right? It's also a way of like. It also depends on how you present it too.
Yeah.
Like, are you being overly arrogant about it, or are you just like making a slight suggestion?
Yeah,
Or
no, no.
like. Yeah.
Absolutely. And especially if it was like an abuse situation, like if something was unfair or we were creating a bad work environment,
Yeah.
absolutely I would have heard out your concerns for sure.
Yeah.
But it was just like, what are you, a child?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, no, it's called a holiday, and here we kind of do things like this.
Oh, I see. So they were taking themselves very seriously, and they expected the restaurant to take themselves very seriously.
And we do.
Well,
definitely
sure,
do.
yeah, but for the holiday, they're just like allowed to go ahead and dress up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the owner thought that was pretty funny. It was like, he said, what?
That's so funny how
It's like, it's Halloween.
some people will say like you need to be very serious and presentable, dress appropriately for jobs. Like that's it's a very serious matter, not to be taken lightly. And then others will be like, it's just a job. Like you don't gotta take it so seriously, and just try to relax
Yeah.
and be laid back about it. No matter what, either side can provide a a position where the work can still get done, regardless of how you're presenting yourself, So I suppose they're both valid in their own rights, but I think that's something that should be left up to the employer first
so.
and foremost, because they're the ones that they're running the business or whatever, so that's understandable and that's within their right. But then secondly, should be left up to the employee, like, hey, if you want to dress a certain way, have at it, but
Are you responsible?
Then people are so sensitive too. Like we can't wear anything that's like religiously affiliated, politically affiliated, or just blatantly offensive.
Excuse me.
Excuse
wow.
me.
I just did the
I
same
know.
thing.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is silly. Which is funny because I saw someone wearing a Beto Rock shirt the other day.
Did you call him out?
Nah, I don't care. I don't care about that stuff. But I was just like,
You were
ah.
distracted?
I was like, oh, we're not supposed to wear stuff like that. That's funny. I don't care.
Yeah. What about crosses? Are people allowed to wear cross necklaces?
Well, see, yeah, that's the thing. People do wear cross necklaces for sure.
That's
Yeah,
religious.
I know. I want to wear my freaking Virgin Mary shirts, but I'm like, I don't know. People are gonna be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's a
So
bit
that's
more
pretty flashy.
yeah, out there. It's a whole back piece, and then
No.
the other one's just like right there in the front.
Well, the one in front is definitely, isn't that the one that's sort of alluding to something else?
No,
It's not.
I don't think that's
Sure.
what it was meant for. Yeah,
And it came off that way. Maybe
sure,
I'm thinking
but I
of a
don't.
different one.
No, you're thinking of the red one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. I doubt that it was meant for that. I'm pretty sure that's just how they presented the image. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not like blatantly obvious that that's what it's trying to represent.
No.
You know? Because it is very traditional and iconic to put the Virgin in an oval form, you know? And then there's nothing added to it that would suggest that it is supposed to represent like a vulva or
okay.
anything. Yeah. Because it's literally very clean forward image. It just has a globe at the bottom, and then the dressing of the Virgin, and then the face of the Virgin, and that's it.
I mean, I think I'm confusing the image that I'm used to with another image that is definitely like meant to be alluding to the vulva.
Yeah, there are artists that have done that where it's just it's made to look like a vulva.
Yeah.
And vagina.
Yeah.
Because they'll have like the labias like opened.
Yeah. Do we have to bleep those?
I don't know. I'm not going to.
Good. Educational purposes.
Yeah. They're medical terms.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I worked in hospitals collectively for over what, like I know I've gone over this in the podcast before, but I don't remember. I worked at Texas Medical for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then I worked at Texas Neuro Rehab for another three or four. Yeah. So 6, 7 years, something like that.
Yeah, that's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
That's why I was completely comfortable spreading my friends' butt cheeks to make sure there were no ants in it.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Yeah, like stuff like that's not a big deal to me. You know? I'm just like, yeah, I've seen some nasty stuff. I've seen some really gross stuff before. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a weird thing to come to a close on.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we're gonna keep doing this for as long as we can, and hopefully we don't have to stop. Hopefully we can continue to do this, but only time will tell.
We'll keep you updated, and definitely let us know if you hear anything.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And we do, unfortunately, have like a certain income requirement, though. You know, especially since there is a lease, which is essentially a contract involved that requires a certain amount of income in order to
Continue.
live in that place. So we are at the mercy of the system and the gods. Just kidding. I don't believe in gods.
It's the universe, duh.
Yeah, well, the universe apparently doesn't care what any of us go through.
No, of course not, because we don't pray to it.
I beg to differ. There are people praying to a universe or a god in Gaza, and look at what's going on over there.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Ukraine.
Yeah.
Or anywhere else there's military
Lots
conflicts.
of places.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people are starving, and they're praying to gods, and they're praying to me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody, but yeah, those are just things I think about sometimes. And it's not uncommon people definitely have those thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
But that is a whole nother discussion. And I respect your beliefs. I hope you can equally respect mine. That's all I ask for.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. And we're out.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you later.
Good job.